New Maid discovers hidden truth, slaps billionaire boss in incredible, life-changing moment. Lisa wiped the sweat from her brow as she adjusted her apron, taking in the opulence of the Hart estate for the 100th time. The grand chandelier sparkled overhead, casting dazzling reflections on the polished marble floors. It was almost surreal, this world of wealth, but it was nothing compared to the reality she struggled to maintain back home. As a single mother of two, she rushed through her days, clocking in and out of life filled with school drop-offs, grocery checks, and endless chores. Yet, she couldn't shake that yearning for something more, something like the American dream her father had always spoken of. With a deep breath, Lisa grabbed her duster and approached a shelf lined with expensive trinkets. As she dusted, her eyes wandered over the lavish portraits of Thomas Hart, his confident smile plastered across his perfect face. A mixture of admiration and resentment bubbled within her. This man, with all his tech innovations and wealth, lived in a bubble, while she was buried deep in the mud of everyday struggles, fighting for a decent future for her kids. One day, curiosity tugged at her fingers as she dusted the large oak desk in Thomas's office. The glimmer of a folder caught her eye. She pushed blunt nails into the edge and pulled it closer. As she flipped through the documents, her heart raced with each page. Deceptive contracts, manipulative clauses impacting workers from her own community. The evidence screamed greed. Shock gripped her like a vice. Thomas's empire was built on the backs of people just like her. The weight of those pages bore down on her chest, a heavy reminder of her father's words about integrity and service, the very heart of valor. Just then, a memory of her son's face, ripe with frustration, surged to the forefront of her mind. "Mom, they cut my school funding," he had shouted just days earlier, hurt glimmering in his innocent eyes. The decision had come from the very company she worked for, and Thomas was behind it all. That moment of indignation boiled inside her, igniting a fire she had long buried. As she prepared herself for the annual company gala, that fire became her armor. Lisa took a deep breath, imagining her family in the crowd, cheering her on. Here was her chance to confront the very man whose wealth had stifled her community's hopes. Amidst the glittering gowns and sharp tuxedos, the tension built. Whispers filled the air as she approached the stage. When the moment arrived, panic crept in, but she could feel her father's presence guiding her. "Enough is enough," Lisa shouted, her voice cutting through the frenzied chatter. All eyes turned to her, shock painted across their faces. "Thomas Hart, your businesses are destroying our community." Gasps washed over the room. In a bold surge of defiance, she slapped him across the face. The sound echoed, leaving stunned silence in its wake. Just as fear gripped her heart, murmurs of support cascaded from the crowd. Fellow guests stepped forward, emboldened by her courage. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." As the crowd erupted with energy, Lisa felt alive. Her heart raced, and for a moment, she was no longer just a maid, she was a voice, an advocate fighting against corruption. Would her act of bravery spark a change that could transform her community? She looked around, the palpable tension surrounding her filling the air with a thrilling possibility. What would happen when the applause faded? Would she emerge victorious or find herself fighting alone for her family's future? This was just the beginning. The applause was deafening, a wave of support that flowed through the grand hall like a sudden gust of fresh air. Lisa stood on that stage, heart pounding, breathless. Her cheeks flushed with adrenaline, and she dared to glance at Thomas Hart. He was just a few feet away, his stunned expression morphing from shock to anger. The smile that once adorned his face was wiped clean, his cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "Get her off the stage." Thomas's voice thundered, but it fell flat against the rising chorus of encouragement. People were rallying behind her, friends she hadn't met yet, but who felt the same frustration. It was exhilarating, a moment of unity built on shared struggle. "Lisa!" Someone called from the back, a voice she recognized but couldn't place at first. She turned, scanning the crowd. There, she spotted Michelle, a neighbor from her community. A woman with fire in her eyes, standing beside a group of others who had been impacted by the same decisions Thomas had made. Hope surged inside Lisa. She was not alone. "Speak!" another voice urged. With renewed determination swelling in her chest, Lisa took a step forward. "For too long, we've been silent," she called out. "You've made decisions in boardrooms that affect our lives, and we're here to say enough." Cheers erupted again, and with each shout of support, Lisa felt her spirit lift higher. This was her moment. This was a chance to fight for her children, for her community, and for those around her who had felt powerless for too long. But then it hit her: what would be the consequences? She recognized the risk of targeting a man as powerful as Thomas Hart, a titan in the tech industry known for his ruthless business tactics. Would he retaliate? Would this act of rebellion cost her the job that helped support her kids? Doubt twisted her stomach, but courage held her firm. "Everyone in this room knows someone who has been hurt by your choices," she said, pointing her finger across the gathered crowd. "You may think these are just numbers and contracts, but these are lives. Lives of children who need schools, parents who need jobs, communities that need support." A murmur spread through the crowd, listening, considering. Lisa breathed deep again, refocusing her thoughts. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about everyone who felt trapped by a system stacked against them. At the edge of her vision, she caught Thomas shaking his head, a sneer forming on his lips. "You think this is going to change anything? You're messing with power," he spat. "Power built on the backs of hardworking people like my neighbors and me," she shot back, her voice rising, electric with conviction. "And we're done living in your shadow." As she spoke, she noticed a camera flash. A journalist had snapped her picture. Suddenly, it sank in. The world was watching. This could be the moment that amplified her message beyond the gilded walls of the Hart estate. But before she could celebrate that thought, Thomas stepped forward. "You'll regret this, little maid." His eyes narrowed dangerously. Fear taunted her, yet Lisa stood her ground. "I'm not afraid of you or your threats." The crowd responded, "We're not afraid." Adrenaline pumped wildly through her veins. Despite her uncertainty, despite the danger lingering on the horizon, she knew this had to change. Whatever the outcome, she would help light the way for others. As the applause merged with shouts from supporters, Lisa realized this battle was just beginning. She had taken the first step, but would it be enough? What would happen when the real fight began? Would she rise to the challenge or find herself swallowed by the very system she dared to confront? The answers hung in the air, ripe with suspense. The applause began to fade, but the energy in the room crackled like static. Lisa's heart raced as she took a deep breath, desperately trying to summon courage amidst the swirling doubts. Excitement mixed with fear as she scanned the faces around her. The support was tangible, yet Thomas's threatening posture loomed closer, a storm cloud against a backdrop of hope. "Get her off this stage now." He barked again, his voice slicing through the air, peppered with venom. The assembled crowd fell momentarily silent, but not from fear. Lisa could see the determination in their eyes, a silent promise that they would stand with her. "You can't silence us anymore, Thomas," shouted Michelle, her voice ringing out clear as a bell. The crowd stirred back to life, applause crashing in waves, louder than before, and Lisa felt a surge of strength from their defiance. "Enough is enough," she repeated, her voice steady now. "You may control the contracts, but we control the narrative. It's our lives at stake." She pointed toward the heart of the crowd, where families stood shoulder to shoulder. "These are parents. These are children. These are hurting people who need hope and action. Lisa knew she was stepping into dangerous territory, treading a fine line between advocacy and recklessness. What if Thomas attempted to crush her voice? What if he wielded his power like a weapon? She wanted to question her own bravery, but that would mean turning her back on the very community that had welcomed her, embraced her. Do your worst, Thomas. She yelled, her heart now steady, blood thrumming in her ears. You underestimate us. We are not just maids or low-level workers. We are the foundation of this community. The crowd erupted again, this time in a roaring chant, "We are the foundation." It felt like a battle cry, an anthem that could shake the very foundations of the Hart Empire if they pushed hard enough. Thomas stepped back, the smirk on his face wavering, replaced by a grimace of realization. He couldn't dismiss this movement as just chatter from a small voice in the crowd anymore. People were shifting, gathering strength in numbers, and he was the one being outnumbered. Lisa felt power pulse through her as she continued to speak, fueled by her fellow neighbors. We will confront you at every board meeting, at every decision you make. You need to hear us. We deserve a seat at that table. With every word, her resolve solidified, pushing through layers of fear that had long held her back. And in that moment, something shifted. A spark ignited not just within Lisa but rippled through the crowd. People swapped glances, nodding in agreement. There was a feeling that they would stand together, unfazed by the threats of a titan like Thomas. But Thomas wasn't done fighting. He stepped forward aggressively, his tone dropping dangerously low. You really think you've won some battle here? I'll make sure you understand just how powerful I am, he hissed, his threat dangling in the air like a dark cloud. An overwhelming shiver ran down Lisa's spine, yet amidst the uncertain storm, she felt the faces of her community behind her. Each one bore the weight of the decisions made in silence for too long. She was no longer just a maid, she was their voice. But what would that mean for the future, knowing a bull like Thomas was set to retaliate? She didn't wait for the answer, her heart racing, filled with resolve. You may try to silence us, she declared, but we will rise. Together. As the crowd erupted once more, their chants echoing off the walls, Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that they had crossed a line. There was no turning back now. The fight was just beginning. But as she turned to face the backing crowd, a fleeting yet terrifying thought crossed her mind. What was she willing to sacrifice for this cause? How far would her bravery stretch before it snapped? The weight of that question hung heavy in the air, propelling Lisa into an uncertain future, where the battle lines were drawn, and the repercussions of her defiance loomed dark ominously ahead. What would their resolve look like when justice demanded a price? The crowd's chants faded, but the energy crackled like electricity. Lisa stepped back slightly, allowing the cheers to wash over her. A moment of pure exhilaration surged through her, ignited by the voices around her. But as she locked eyes with Thomas, the thrill of victory tempered into steely resolve. His dark glare held a threat she couldn't ignore, promising retaliation. Think about what you're doing, Lisa, Thomas warned, his jaw clenched tightly. You're playing a dangerous game. Lisa refused to flinch. No, Thomas. I'm demanding my place, she declared. The message wasn't just for him, it was for everyone in the hall. Her heart raced, not with fear but with the electric buzz of adrenaline. It felt good to stand tall, to challenge the status quo. The crowd surged forward, and Lisa felt the warmth of support enveloping her. It was a collective heartbeat, a thrum of unity that pulsed through her veins. She was their voice, and together they could be heard. I'm not afraid of you. She shouted, voice steady. You've ruled this community with fear for too long. Thomas's expression twisted in fury, and Lisa knew she had struck a nerve. You'll regret this, Lisa. You won't like what happens next. The hush that followed his words was palpable. She could feel every heartbeat, every breath in the room tense in response to the threat. Doubts rushed in, filling her mind like shadows. What if he wielded his influence like a weapon? What if his retaliation came with a heavy cost? But what about them? Lisa gestured toward the sea of faces, frightened yet resolute. How can you turn your back on all these people? You may have power, but they have something you will never understand: hope. As if summoned by her words, a chorus of emotions erupted from the crowd. Parents clasped their children, fists raised high in solidarity. This was more than just a confrontation, it was a pivotal moment of change, rich with possibility. Thomas scoffed, dismissing the crowd as he struggled to regain control. Hope. What is that to me? A losing game. His bitterness echoed in the hall, but it only fueled the fire within Lisa. No. Hope is everything. She insisted. Hope is why we fight. Hope is what unites us. She could feel the strength emanating from those around her, urging her to press on. As the energy in the room shifted, Lisa sensed a wave of determination wash over the audience. The air vibrated with the promise of change. She had awakened something deep within them, a collective spirit ready to rise. But then, amid the fervor, a chilling thought struck her heart. Would this battle come at a cost she couldn't bear? The uncertainty loomed over her like a shadow. How far would Thomas push? Would he retaliate with threats or more sinister tactics? The crowd began to chant her name, a wave of support that swelled and drowned out the lingering doubts. It was exhilarating, yet terrifying. Thomas glared at her, and the tension in the air crackled like a winter storm. She swallowed hard, steeling her nerves. The scene before her was charged, breathtakingly alive. It was a moment poised between hope and fear, change and chaos. But as the wave of unity rolled through the crowd, one question echoed in her mind: what was it worth to her? As the chants grew louder, Lisa faced Thomas, her heart pounding. We won. Back down. Not now, not ever. But as he stepped forward, the menace in his eyes deepened. You'll wish you hadn't started this fight. The room collectively inhaled, bracing for his next move. Lisa's heart raced. This wasn't just about her anymore, it was about everyone who believed that the future could change. What was she willing to sacrifice? And in that moment, with the storm brewing, she realized this was only the beginning. The truth of their struggle was waiting to be unearthed, but what lay beneath could change everything they ever knew. Would they be ready for what came next? Lisa's heart pounded in her chest, every thump synchronized with the chanting crowd. She felt the adrenaline rush through her, but alongside it, a creeping sense of uncertainty tugged at her mind. The battle lines were drawn. Yet, the fear of what Thomas might unleash hung heavily in the air. The murmurings in the crowd began to blend into a cauldron of emotion. People stepped forward, fans of her courage, ready to stand by her. Each face reflected determination, hope, a tapestry woven from shared struggles. She took a deep breath, inhaling the spirit of the people around her. We will not be silenced any longer. She implored, her voice rising once more. Thomas's expression shifted, flickering between rage and disbelief. You're playing with fire, Lisa. You have no idea what you're getting into. He stepped closer, and Lisa could see a dark intent shaping within him. What's the matter, Thomas? Afraid to lose control? She challenged boldly, refusing to back down. Her words sent ripples through the crowd, and she felt a surge of unity swell around her. Control? Or is it fear of the truth? Thomas shot back, and the room fell silent once again. His voice dripped with venom as he continued, You think these people will follow you? You're just a fleeting moment. They realize that hope won't feed their families or keep a roof over their heads. His words struck like a dagger, not for Lisa, but for the very people she fought for. A hush of doubt threatened to creep back, but Lisa held it at bay, planting her feet firmly. This isn't just about hope, it's about a future. A future they can craft for themselves without your iron grip. They deserve better. Then they can try, he said with a mocking tone, yet an unsettling flicker of uncertainty crossed his eyes. Something had shifted in the atmosphere. Lisa could sense the crack in his armor. This wasn't just a showdown, it was a reckoning. Suddenly, a voice from the crowd broke through the tension. "We believe in you, Lisa." It rang out, followed by others rallying behind. "Lisa! Lisa! Lisa!" The chant erupted anew, each human voice lending strength to the next. It was a sound so powerful it reverberated through her bones. The surge of support reinforced her resolve. But then Thomas sneered. "If this is how you want it, I'll take it all from you. Open your eyes, Lisa. This isn't a fairy tale." The laughter that followed, dark and mocking, sent a chill through the crowd. His threat loomed over them like a dark cloud ready to burst. Lisa's gaze darted around the audience, she could see the worry etched on their faces. But beneath that fear lay a flicker of defiance. "Thomas!" she shouted, feeling the weight of the moment. "You can threaten us, but you can't take our spirit. We know our worth, and we won't back down. You may have the power, but we have something you cannot control, our will to fight." The chaotic chorus reached a fever pitch, and Thomas's sneer faltered. The conviction behind her words resonated deeply. Lisa had become more than a voice, she was a force to be reckoned with. In that moment, she was a lighthouse in turbulent waters. Yet, just as triumph seemed palpable, Thomas took a step back, a calculating glint in his eye. "Very well, I'll let you enjoy this moment. But remember, storms can reveal secrets many would prefer to keep buried." A wave of unease passed through the crowd. What secrets? What cards did he hold? As the tension hung in the air like a thick fog, Lisa felt her heart race once again, not from fear but from anticipation. She knew this was far from over. The battle was only beginning, but her resolve had been fortified. The truth was always lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to be unleashed. What kind of secrets awaited them, and would they be ready to face whatever came next? As she searched the crowd's faces, Lisa sensed that they were in this together wherever it may lead. The crowd buzzed with a restless energy, the air thick with anticipation. Lisa's heart hammered harder in her chest, but this time, she wasn't afraid. She felt the warmth of the people around her, supportive hands clasping against her back. They were ready to fight for the change they all so desperately craved. As Lisa locked eyes with Thomas, she felt a shift happen. His earlier bravado wavered, flickering like a candle in a windstorm. "You think this is a game?" he spat, stepping forward again, shadows pooling beneath the jut of his jaw. "You're unprepared for the real consequences of your actions. I know how to play dirty." "Then let us play," she shot back, a fire igniting within her. "But I won't be the only one in this game. None of us will." The chant of her name surged again, a tidal wave against the shoreline of Thomas's threats. They were unified, strong. The air crackled with tension, the atmosphere thick with the promise of storm and conflict. People began to step closer, their eyes shining with defiance, solidarity gleaming like armor against his darkened intent. But an uneasy stillness hung in the air, and Thomas raised his hands, the gesture almost peaceful yet rife with contempt. "If you think you can disrupt what I have built, you're mistaken. I own everything here. You'll find that out soon enough." Lisa held her breath. The fear in the crowd was palpable, but she refused to show any weakness. Instead, she called out into the sea of faces. "He can own buildings and resources, but he doesn't own our will. They can try to scare us, but we know that we can rise above. Together, we've become more than we were yesterday." For a fleeting moment, she thought she saw a flicker of something in Thomas's eyes, real fear mixed with thinly veiled desperation. But it was gone in an instant, replaced by icy resolve. "You want to know my secrets?" he growled, leaning in, his voice low and dangerous. "Watch and learn, Lisa. This isn't a fairy tale, and I'm not afraid to burn it all down." The mention of secrets intrigued her, unraveling a thread of anxiety within her, pulling it taut. "What do you mean?" she pressed. "You think you can intimidate me? Your time is running out." His lips curled into a smirk, revealing gaps of malice beneath the surface. "We'll see about that." He stepped back, eyes scanning the crowd, taking stock. Lisa felt a cold knot tighten in her stomach. What had he got up his sleeve? The supporters around her buzzed, whispers thickening like fog. What does he know? They feared the shadows lurking in plain sight, the unseen hand in their fight. At that moment, an elderly man in the front of the crowd shouted, "We're not backing down. We trust you, Lisa." His voice broke through the tension. Her eyes shone bright, recognition washing over her. "See. We believe in each other. We are stronger together." But as she turned to face Thomas again, the glimmer of his darkness seemed to remind her that courage alone might not be enough. Could they truly face whatever storm he unleashed? Suddenly, the anticipation changed, crackling in the air like electricity. The crowd waited, hearts racing in unison, breaths held. Lisa realized then, they might face devastation, chaos unfurling around them. But the truth, once revealed, was a force of nature too. Together, they were ready to shoulder the storm, whatever it looked like. And with that thought, she sensed a shift. The winds of change gathered behind her, rising in a whirlwind of collective determination. Yet, Thomas's expression hinted at a much deeper plan, one that could shatter everything. What deep, dark secrets was he hiding? The thought lingered as her mind raced, and she gritted her teeth, ready to confront whatever truths were yet to surface. Could she protect them? Would the strength they found in unity be enough against the shadows of fear? Lisa could feel her heart clash with uncertainty, ready to propel her into the next phase of this unending struggle. The crowd swelled with restless energy, vibrantly echoing Lisa's own heartbeat. She could sense their fear, but mingling with it was something more powerful: hope. Each face reflected a determination that made the air around them vibrate with urgency. Thomas had cast his shadow over this moment, but they stood together, defiant and unyielding. "I'm done with standing in the dark," she called out, her voice rising above the murmurs. "Thomas thinks he can intimidate us, but he can't touch the fire we have inside." The crowd erupted, voices mingling in an intoxicating symphony of unity. Yet, Thomas was still a looming presence, a storm cloud ready to unleash chaos. "You think this is about you all?" He spat, a sneer twisting his features. "You're just pawns in my game. I have eyes everywhere. I will find your weaknesses, then try." Lisa shot back, feeling a surge of adrenaline course through her. "You may have control over your empire, but you'll never own our resolve." She didn't cower. No, she thrust her shoulders back and stood tall, just as those beside her did, faces shining with unyielding belief. As Lisa engaged him, the crowd behind her began to sway, a tidal force of bodies and voices rising in a collective mantra. Stand together. Fight together. It was a mantra that bonded them, lifting them, pushing them forward with an undeniable energy. But deep down, doubt still gnawed at Lisa. What if Thomas truly held the key to their downfall? What if he unleashed something that could break her? The words he had spoken reverberated in her mind. "I know how to play dirty." She took a breath, drawing strength from the people around her, reminding herself that the truth was on their side. "I'd like to see you try to break us," she challenged, raising her chin defiantly. Thomas's eyes narrowed, calculating, like a predator observing prey. But she recognized the flicker of uncertainty that passed through him. It gave her a flicker of hope. "Just wait," he murmured, turning to look beyond the crowd. Lisa followed his gaze. Sudden darkness crashed over the setting sun, deepening the shadows that danced on the ground. "What is it?" someone asked, a tremor in their voice. The energy shifted again, uncertainty creeping back into the atmosphere like a thick fog. Lisa squinted into the distance, her heart pounding against the weight of dread that threatened to settle in. "We can't let him divide us." Whatever his plan is, we must face it together," she declared, locking eyes with members of the crowd, willing them to share in her strength. But as the first heavy drop of rain fell from the sky, something shifted again. The distant sound of sirens could be heard echoing through the air, a discordant note piercing their fervent chants. Gasps of shock rippled through the crowd like a wave. "Is he calling the cops?" a voice whimpered. "Stay strong," Lisa shouted, clenching her fists. "We have each other, remember?" The rain poured down suddenly, catching them off guard. People looked to each other, expressions contorting from fear to confusion. Daniel, a friend standing beside her, whispered urgently, "What are we going to do?" "Trust in the truth. Trust in each other," Lisa urged, her voice steady, rising above the gathering storm. Every instinct within her screamed that they would be tested, but all she could do was rally them, channeling their collective spirit into action. The raindrops were cool against her skin, a grounding reminder of the chaos swirling around them. She took a deep breath, summoning a fierce determination. "This isn't just about us anymore, it's about everyone who has been silenced, everyone who is afraid to stand up. We're here, and we're not leaving until we've faced him." Around her, the crowd began to chant again, voices merging in a rhythmic pulse that thundered beneath the rain. "Together. Together." But while they chanted, she could feel the tension, the dark storm of Thomas's hidden secrets still looming. She had to uncover whatever it was he was hiding, for them, for herself, for the future they were fighting for. Could she truly unearth that truth before it was too late? And somewhere in the depths of her heart, she sensed the stakes were rising higher, desperate to reveal what lay hidden within Thomas's stone facade. With wind whipping through her hair and rain drenching them all, she felt a surge of power, a storm brewing, one that demanded resolution. As the chant thundered over the chaos, Lisa whispered to herself, would uncovering Thomas's secret be their salvation or their undoing? The rain fell harder, each drop mixing with the tension that wrapped around the crowd like an electric current. Lisa could feel the energy pulsing beneath her feet, vibrating along with the echoing chants. This was their moment, but the threat from Thomas loomed larger than the dark clouds shrouding the sky. Together. Together. Their voices combined into a forceful wave, pushing against the encroaching fear. Lisa locked eyes with Daniel, seeing the fire mirrored in his gaze. They were standing on a precipice, and she felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. But could unity truly withstand the darkness Thomas threatened to unleash? She glanced back at him, found him watching her, calculating. What was he really capable of? Her resolve shook under the intensity of that gaze, mixed with a growing sense of dread. "Lisa!" Someone called from the edge of the crowd. A middle-aged woman, bleary-eyed and clutching her child, stared helplessly. "What if he sends the police to break us up? What if we get arrested?" Fear was a tangible thing, creeping into the edges of the chanting voices. Lisa felt it an unwelcome intruder. She stepped closer to the edge of their collective strength, reaching out, her voice breaking through the rising tide. "If we falter now, we let him win. Don't let fear control us." The woman nodded, her expression slowly changing, from panic to acknowledgement. Lisa returned her focus to the crowd, kindling the flames around her. "We have the truth on our side. They are here to keep order, but we will not be silenced." The energy surged back, and with it, hope began to glimmer brighter in her chest. Yet, the sirens grew louder. Shadows danced around them, distorted figures weaving through the veil of rain. Lisa struck the ground with her foot, the sound sharp and commanding. "We stand for our rights no matter what. We have to show them we are not afraid." Just as the crowd rallied behind her, the flash of police lights illuminated the glistening wet pavement. Shadows shifted, cloaking Thomas. He held a phone to his ear, smirking as if this was all part of a grand performance. "Looks like you're no match for the law after all," he jeered, his laughter slicing through the air. It only fueled Lisa's anger. "Let them come," she yelled, stepping forward, her heart racing. Let them see what happens when they try to quiet a voice that wants to be silenced. But deep down, a shadowy question began to whisper in her mind. What if his game was more dangerous than she understood? What if he had something planned that went beyond mere intimidation? With every moment, the air thickened with suspense, every heartbeat resonating with the roaring chant around them. Suddenly, the crowd began to part, their eyes widening. A dark SUV pulled up beside them, its door swinging open. A tall figure stepped out, and an electric shock rushed through the crowd at the sight of the renowned civil rights lawyer, Jack Sullivan. He was a figure who had fought many battles, turning tides against oppressive forces before. "Lisa!" Jack called, eyes searching, a grim determination on his face. "You need to come with me. We have to strategize before things escalate." "What do you mean?" "We can't leave," Lisa argued, frustration bubbling to the surface. The rain poured down, soaking them all, but the potential storm brewing was far more dangerous than the one in the sky. "We can't let Thomas steer this narrative," Jack insisted, urgency in his tone. "We would be giving him what he wants." As Lisa looked back at the crowd, she felt the heaviness of choice bearing down on her. Could she abandon the people who had come together so fiercely? The energy around her flickered, swaying between a fierce resolve and a new chaos lurking on the horizon. "Lisa," Daniel urged, eyes pleading. "What will you choose?" With Thomas still looming, uncertainty prickled her skin. She inhaled sharply. Torn between her fear and her determination, she felt the weight of her decision take a sharp turn. What would happen if she faced Thomas head-on, risking everything they had built? Would the truth they sought free them, or would it unravel them completely? Taking a step closer to the SUV, she felt the tension peak, ready for her next choice. But did she have what it took to uncover the truth behind the man who threatened to shatter all their dreams? The rain intensified, drumming a call to action. And deep down, Lisa realized that the next moment might change everything. Would she gather her strength, face her fears, and lead them all toward a future, or would this be the moment that divided them? The decision hung in the air like the rain falling around them, each drop a reminder of the stakes. Lisa's eyes darted between Jack and Daniel, the urgency in Jack's voice resonating with her need to protect those who had come to stand beside her. Every heartbeat thundered louder than the storm above, and for a moment, she felt frozen. "Let us take a moment, just a moment," Lisa pleaded, her voice softer now, almost breaking. The chants faded into the background, replaced by the pounding of raindrops that seemed to pulse in time with her racing heart. "If I leave now, if I abandon everyone, what does that say about us? About our fight?" "Lisa." Daniel's voice was sharp, a warning disguised as a plea. "This isn't just about them. This is your fight too. We need a plan, a strategy if we're going to take him down before he uses the law against us." But even as he spoke, doubt crept into her mind. Where did their strength lie? Was it in confrontation or in clever resistance? Lisa could see the various shades of tension on the faces of those around her: fear, determination, hope. Every expression was a reflection of the choice she needed to make. She turned back to the crowd, seeing their faces lit by the glimmering police lights, their unshed tears mixed with the rain. There was a kind of beauty in their unity, a strength she had never felt before. "We're here for a reason," she shouted, her voice steadying. "We fight not just for ourselves, but for those who can't." The crowd roared, the chants rising again: freedom, justice. And for a brief moment, it felt as if they were truly invincible. Jack's eyes had a flicker of admiration. "You're a born leader, Lisa," he said, a hint of a smile breaking through his composed facade. "But if we stay and they turn violent, I know," she cut in, the weight of reality crashing around her. "But if we fight, we need to do it smart. You think they will just back off? They won tea. And they know we care deeply about our cause. That's our strength." As the police lights twinkled like distant stars, Lisa felt a spark of clarity. She took a step back, heart hammering. Okay, she said, resolve bubbling within her. We can regroup. Strategize right here. Her mind raced, fingers tingling with the urge to create a plan. If we can show them what? Thomas's smirk cut through her words, standing tall against the rain-soaked backdrop. That you can shout louder? That you can join forces and still be outmatched? The crowd's energy shifted, tension vibrating in the damp air. A wave of disbelief swept through it. Who did Thomas think he was, casting shadows of doubt just like the storm clouds overhead? I want to let you divide us. Lisa shouted, her heart pounding fiercely now. You want to create chaos? I'll show you courage. We are more than your intimidation tactics. Courage? Thomas laughed darkly, the noise grating against Lisa's ears. It's easy to rally when you think someone else will take the fall. But when the dust settles, who will stand for you? You think Jack Sullivan can protect you? In that moment, something shifted within Lisa. We don't need just one voice. She yelled back, feeling raw, unfiltered rage. We need each other. Her outburst brought the crowd back into focus, their shared fear igniting a fervent flame of resistance. And then, a decision crystallized in her mind. Let us hold our ground. She declared, finding strength in the echo of her own words. We're not backing down. Not now, not ever. As cheers erupted again, a sudden realization hit her. Facing Thomas head-on would mean facing her own fears, and the thought of unleashing her full potential sent chills coursing through her body. Was she prepared to challenge him in front of everyone? The question spun like a whirlwind in her mind, pulling her deeper into the storm of confrontation. What if emerging from this fight unleashed something within her she never knew she possessed? The eyes of the crowd rested on her, waiting. The rain continued to fall, each droplet like a heavy drum, marking the seconds until they either stood united or faced the storm. Fractured. Taking a deep breath, Lisa felt like she was on the edge of a cliff, about to leap. Would she soar or would she fall? The answer surged within her as she screamed into the tempest, ready to uncover not only the truth about Thomas but also the truth within herself. But as she gazed out past the storm, something in the distance caught her eye, a flicker of movement just beyond the police barricade. What was happening now? It pulled her focus as her heart raced with uncertainty. Who else was about to step into this chaotic dance? The air thickened, tension stretching like an elastic band ready to snap. Lisa's heart raced, caught between the thundering crowd and the ominous flicker beyond the police barricade. What lay behind the line? Was it friend or foe? The realization that the moment was precarious filled her with a mix of dread and anticipation. Suddenly, from the shadows, a figure emerged, a familiar face. It was Michelle, her neighbor and fellow warrior, rushing toward the front. Lisa felt a rush of relief washing over her mixed with renewed determination. If Michelle was here, it meant they were ready to stand together against Thomas and the darkness he represented. Lisa. I've got the community on standby. Michelle shouted, breathless but fierce. We can mobilize and draw attention to our plight. Let us get the media involved. A spark ignited within Lisa, drawing strength from the gathering storm of voices around her. Yes. She exclaimed, feeling the tide of hope surge back. We need to make our message crystal clear. We are not just a bunch of angry voices, we are a community fighting for what's right. The cheers of encouragement erupted around, and the storm seemed to shift, enhancing their determination. As if on cue, the police barricade began to push forward. Officers, clad in uniforms that felt alien against the very fabric of their community, advanced cautiously. Lisa's heart skipped a beat. Was this the moment Thomas had been waiting for? Stay strong. She yelled, unwavering. Remember what we're fighting for. Thomas watched from the sidelines, arms crossed, a self-satisfied smirk plastered across his face. You think you can rally the entire town against me? He taunted, but disbelief flickered in his eyes. What happens when reality strikes? The sound of shuffling feet and voices rose against the rain-soaked air. "We'll make our reality," she shouted back, locking her gaze onto Thomas. "You might have power, but we have unity, something you will never control." And with that, she turned back to face the people who had rallied behind her. Each face shone with a fierce glow, a collective courage filling the space between them. It was time to take their fight to the next level. "Let us build a challenge, a protest right here," she cried. "We need everyone under this banner, everyone whose life you've impacted with your greedy ambitions." As voices surged around her, Lisa felt a wave of empowerment. When she raised her hands to call for silence, the crowd instinctively quieted. "Let us paint this picture. News crews, social media, everyone needs to see the truth of what you've done, Thomas. Together we will broadcast your sins to the world." From the back of the crowd, support grew like a wildfire. "We'll bring signs. We'll put our stories out there," someone shouted, igniting a chorus of agreement. Lisa grinned ear to ear, the warmth of solidarity radiating between them. But then, something shifted again. Doubt clawed at the edges of her resolve as she caught the shifting expressions of the officers moving closer. The tension re-rose, each heartbeat drumming against the uncertainty. If things escalated, would they forcibly disperse the crowd? Would Thomas turn the police into pawns in his game? "Stay together," she urged, pushing forward. "Remember why we're here. This isn't just about me or Thomas, it's about our community. Our children. We need everyone, we need each other." Just as she spoke, a ripple of voices emerged from the back, fueled by newfound strength. "We are the heart of this community," it roared, echoing Lisa's defiance. The crowd began to chant again, surging forward, entwined in a shared heartbeat that thumped wildly in defiance of any force trying to pull them apart. Amidst the chaos, Lisa felt something shift within herself. The fear that once wrapped around her heart like barbed wire dissolved into sheer conviction. This was her moment, not just to resist, but to redefine what it meant to be a part of something larger than herself. But then, the snap of a police megaphone cut through their resolve, harsh and authoritative. "Disperse now, or we will be forced to take action." A chill raced down Lisa's spine. The ultimatum hung heavy in the rain-soaked air, echoing in her chest. But she didn't waver. "Stand firm," she bellowed, her voice steady and unwavering. "This is our space. Our fight. You won't silence us." The roar of the crowd grew louder, resonating like an anthem that refused to be dulled by threats. Thomas's face twisted in anger, his earlier bravado replaced by something deeper, fear of losing the control he had maintained for too long. It fueled Lisa, lighting a fire of urgency within her. She needed to strike now while their momentum was high. "Michelle. Gather everyone who can. Let them know what's happening here. Let us get more voices involved," she yelled, determination settling in. "On it." Michelle thrust her fist into the air, rallying more supporters. As more joined them, Lisa understood that the true power of their community lay in united voices rising against oppression. They would not back down, they would stand together, facing whatever forces threatened to shatter their unity. The rain continued to pour, but it felt cleansing, washing away the doubt, fueling her conviction that they were embarking on something immense, transforming fear into action. "Now," she urged, positioning herself at the front. "Together, we're stronger than his power. Let us make our voices heard." With a determined roar, Lisa, buoyed by the community behind her, knew that they would light the way forward. This was not just about confronting Thomas, it was about redefining their future. As she took a step forward, it felt monumental, the sparks of change intertwining with the torrential downpour. Each heartbeat pulsed in her chest, an unwavering declaration that they would not be silenced. The truth was on their side, and together they would rise. But what lay ahead was uncertain, shrouded in a potent mix of fear and hope. Lisa steadied her breath, knowing the struggle was just beginning, the dawn of a transformative moment lingering just out of reach. Yet together, they would face whatever shadows awaited them. They would weave the tapestry of their story, robust and fierce, and in doing so, Lisa would uncover not just the truth about Thomas but the truth about herself. With brightness in her eyes and a challenge on her lips, she stepped forward for the awakening that lay just beyond the horizon waiting to be unveiled. The first light of change was creeping in. Now, more than ever, it was time to rise. Don't forget, subscribe now to join this powerful journey and ensure you won't miss any transformations ahead. Show your support by leaving a like to fuel this movement. We want to hear from you. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this gripping moment. And don't wait not even one more second. Share this with at least 5 friends who need to witness this inspiring transformation. Together, we can reshape our future.